I often wonder how many young Americans realize that there was a time not too long ago in America when journalism was a admirable profession and it was something that was respected. And when you knew somebody was going for their journalism degree and they had plans on becoming a newspaper reporter or a newscaster or an investigative reporter, that was somebody that you looked up to. When I was growing up, of course, I'm 63 now, so I'm talking about back in the 70s and 80s. I mean, the news, they had a little bit, you could tell that which channels kind of had a left slant, but you had to kind of look for it. The reporters would go out and investigate stories to get to the truth. They would get to the truth and they would report the truth and let the chips fall wherever they fell. There clearly has been a shift to where even a blind deaf person could clearly understand that just about all of media that is available on television, the radio, it's just all propaganda. It's like I don't understand how somebody could have desires to be involved in any kind of journalism today when you are completely, totally, openly mandated by producers and channel owners to push agendas and avoid telling the truth or avoid asking the right questions to the right people regarding this or the other topic. You know, the clearest example would be during the Biden administration, when every single television channel, with maybe one exception, and I'm not a pro Fox guy either. Fox is fucked up in many ways. I don't watch any media now. I stopped watching mainstream media back under Obama, but I get my news from independent people on YouTube and sources around the globe. Polish television. The Polish news is a hell of a lot more accurate and genuine than any news that is available in the States, in my opinion. That's just one example. But yeah, under the Biden administration, when you had virtually, just about virtually every channel telling us that Biden was healthy and that his mental situation was perfectly normal, he was sharp as a tack, right up until the bitter end, and then they all had to kind of start backtracking and finger pointing and making excuses as to why they pushed and pushed and pushed how alert and how effective Joe Biden was as a president when every one of us knew that he was basically a cucumber sitting in the Oval Office. I mean, and how that doesn't upset or offend everybody is the real mystery and the real uh, it's just a mystery of the mass hypnosis, or I don't know what it is. I get it that Democrats don't want Republicans to win an election, but at the expense of truth, and to be so comfortable with that. To be so. I just watched, and this is kind of related. I just literally seconds ago was scrolling through TikTok, and somebody was at a anti-Trump, anti-ICE. Yeah, it was an anti-ICE rally, and one of the girls was that was being interviewed was railing on and on about Trump being a racist, and the person that was doing the interview said, "Can you give me an example?" And of course, you've seen millions of these where she pushes and pushes, and this girl could not come up with one example, and her only response was, "Well, you must not watch the news. It's all over the news. It's on the news. Do you watch the news?" Which is just proof that these people depend on the glass screen, and the people who are clearly motivated by agendas, that they believe that that's the fucking word of God. That's the truth, because it came off of the TV, so it has to be true. And these are college educated people, which is a whole nother subject about how corrupt and how just destroyed our educational system has been, because the colleges are another thing. They're just pushing out anti conservative propaganda, anti religious, anti Christian propaganda. This is what they do, and they don't try to hide it. They're very open about it. And these younger people just suck it up. And you know for sure that at least some part of them has to understand how ignorant they are. I mean, when you're out there screaming that a guy that's running the country is a racist and you can't come up with a legitimate example, I mean, to most of us that are semi awake, that would be cause for a pause, cause to maybe go research and find out, well, wait, everybody told me he's a racist. Let me go see if this is true. So she said, well, yeah, you could just Google it. That's what the girl said. So the interviewer said, okay, well, go ahead and do it. And she's looking on her phone. She could never come up with anything that was definitive proof or even slightly provable that Trump is a racist. And the reason is simple. He's not. And if I thought that he was a racist, I wouldn't support him. If I thought he was half of or any of what these people accuse him of being, I wouldn't support him. But there's a huge difference between just making allegations and stating provable facts. Not opinions, but facts. And some people are going to talk about, well, what about what he said about, they're sending us rapists and blah blah blah. Well, that was all true. Whether or not the truth hurts is mildly interesting, but the truth is the truth, and if it stings, it's still the fucking truth. But these leftist scumbags are just it's absolutely scary to me for the future of America. Not me, I'm not going to be around much longer, but when I think about 20 years from now, because Trump, the Trump administration, unless there's a huge change in the election process, is just a speed bump, a stopgap that's just going to temporarily slow this spread of communism that has infiltrated. When I look back on, oh God, what was that guy's name? There's a communist under every table. Was it J. Edgar Hoover, who was basically talking about communism infiltrating the U.S. And, back then I was a young guy, I was a teenager, but we all thought he was kind of nuts, just a paranoid schizoid. And it's shocking how right the guy was. I mean, the dude was 100% legit. The communism infiltrating America is not a theory, it's a reality. And it's being done right in front of our faces. It's being pushed out at every freaking university in this country, especially these Ivy League. A good example is, well, they're not focusing on education, proper. When you would hear that somebody graduated from like Virginia Tech what's the other one? Not Virginia Tech. There's another one that, whether it's, oh God, I'm having a stroke here, but like Yale or Harvard, you would like, whoa, man, this has got to be one intelligent person. But now you look at the people who have those credentials and listen to them try to answer a simple question. I mean, what was it we just saw in Congress? The one lady, she's a doctor, and for 15 minutes she absolutely refused to answer whether or not males could get pregnant. She just wouldn't answer it, and she's a freaking doctor, which tells me that these degrees don't mean shit anymore. Anybody with a degree, any idiot can get a degree if they're just a communist scumbag that hates America, hates the flag, hates law enforcement, and can pass a test. Anybody can pass a test. Any robot could pass a fucking test. You study the material and you pass a test. That doesn't make you intelligent. The colleges used to be there for a reason, was to teach you certain historical things, teach you certain rules and regulations for living. Probably not a good example of words, but it was all backed up with critical thinking, which has been taken completely out of our education system. They don't want critical thinkers. They want people that push the party line. And so the entire system, and I'll circle right back to where I started, with the base of it being our media, is just designed to tear down what is and bring in something new, which, by the way, has never, ever been successful, regardless of the countries who have tried it, the countries who are living it, the people that are. All you have to do is just talk to somebody that grew up in a communist country and went through hell to get over here the legal way, immigrated to the United States, following all of the rules and regulations and the laws that sovereign countries all have, and they're shocked. I know many personally. I'm married to one who is shocked that the effort to get to a country where there was freedom of press and freedom of religion and all of the freedoms we enjoy is now being invaded with the cancer of communism. And it's coming right out of our own system, right out of our televisions, right out of our college professors' mouths. It is absolutely disgusting, man. So, anyways, that's what I was thinking about when I was eating my breakfast burrito, and I thought I'd share it with you. God help us, man, because if we don't win the next 500 elections, this country's over.